I'm over 40 and I realized that I need to start over. I've had to start over several times in my life. I've been married once, I have divorced once, and in 2024 I started a new life with my 3 sons. Before that, I also had to start over many times. It all started in my childhood when I moved house quite a few times. I can't even count how many. When I lived with my grandparents only. Then when my grandfather died, I lived with my grandma. And then immediately after that, I started living with my aunt and her family. After a few years, I was reunited with my mother, and then I was adopted by my stepfather. In adult years, I had to dissolve the adoption, and in the meantime, I started my relationship, and later, my family. In 2013, I got pregnant with my 3rd baby, and unfortunately, I lost that pregnancy. And then in 2014, I became pregnant once again, and that is why I have my 3rd son. Now he is 10. In 2021, I realized that I had outgrown the me of the past, and that most probably I would have to start over once again. In 2024, I divorced my husband and started reinventing myself. I decided to step away from something familiar into something completely new. But at the same time, I decided not to subscribe to the idea that it's too late to start over. Many people romanticize starting over after 40, 50, 60, saying that it's only brave. And yes, it is. I entirely agree. You need a lot of courage to change your life dramatically at that age. But at the same time, some people forget that a lot of fear appears on the way, and you have to deal with it. And I also had to deal with such a lot of fear, stress, that I thought would block me. But on the way, I realized that the fear that appears when you start over, not after 20, not after 30, but after 40, and I guess also on, is that the fear takes you to your purpose. It simply shows you your true path, and it did that for me. I decided to explore my true identity. I'm a person who has 2 origins. My parents were from different countries and from different cultures and languages. And then I decided to search for my other roots. I went abroad, I found my late father's grave. I met his friend for the first time. I asked serious questions. And then the friend informed my biological family on my father's side, as well as my father's biological brother, that I existed. And that is how my journey to the other roots started. On the way, I realized that I wasn't starting over from scratch, but that I was starting over from my experience. That life is about collecting new experiences, which I can call collecting data. And I realized that every time I started over, I gained more insight, more knowledge, and more appreciation of my life. I realized that if I wanted to live deeply, if I wanted my life to be more meaningful, if I wanted my life to have purpose, I don't have to hold myself hostage to the me from the past. So now let me take you to the third moment when I also had to start over. This is the moment when I had to start a new job. One day my friend called me and said that they were looking for someone who would work as an interpreter at the biggest memorial in the country. And suddenly I was supposed to acquire as much knowledge as possible in 3 days and learn the history of the place to be able to present it to crowds of people from all over the world. So this was a huge shift in my professional life, I could say. First of all, I also had to change my professional identity. I became an interpreter in that new place. I hadn't done it before. I had to stand in front of different kinds of people and do a completely different thing. And also I had to travel there. The distance is more than 100 kilometers. So changing that job or introducing it into my life also entailed not being home so much. So I couldn't see my children as much as I had before. And it was especially difficult after my divorce, because while I was living in my house with my 3 sons, I was the primary caregiver present in their lives when they were at home. So changing the place where I worked was also demanding in that respect. And having done that, I realized that I can't hold myself hostage to the me from the past. That if I wanted to change something, I had to step out of my comfort zone and simply do it. And working at the memorial gave me a lot of time to think about everything else, not only the job. So because I traveled by train there and the distance was quite long, I had a lot of time on the way to analyze my life. And then came the idea of starting some social media on which I could share my story. And a short time after my divorce, I started posting my texts on social media. And then one more chapter in my life began. It was then that I made the decision to show a part of my story to other people. First, I started posting my content without my face. And with time, I opened up and I decided to upload faced posts. And gradually, I got so much feedback from people all over the world who started reading my texts, learning my story, and first of all, seeing themselves by my story, and that I learned that on the way they started feeling better and better. I started receiving many messages from all over the world, from people telling me how my texts helped them on their healing journey. And this is how my life passion started. Now I'm starting over in one more sense. I am diving deeper into the healing world and educating so that I could help others more professionally. I shifted from a person who was on her own for almost 4 years, between 2021 and 2024, dealing with her personal situation and solving many problems on the way, to a person who opened up to everyone and everything that serves her. I started meeting like-minded people when traveling, especially to the Balkans, because then I had an opportunity to meet more people. I started visiting new places, traveling to a few different countries, getting in touch with more and more people interested also in healing, and changing my life. And this is where I am. I wanted to share this story with you because I wanted to give you, first of all, courage, but also to tell you that you shouldn't be scared of starting over at any age. I know that I'm not over 50, 60, 70 yet, but believe me, in my personal situation, in my family context, starting over after 40 with 3 children, many responsibilities, and the trauma I had gone through before, all the wounds I had to process from my early years. It wasn't an easy task, but still I'm here. And I would like to give you my words of empowerment. There is some science also which proves that the human brain can expand in a limitless way until the end of our lives. So it's not teenagers or the 20s or the 30s or even 40s where our brain, our neural connections can expand. But in fact, we can grow, learn new things, step out of the comfort zone and do something entirely new forever. There is no age that limits us. Also, when discovering my other roots, I got to know that my Balkan ancestors were people who lived very, very long. I had a thought that if I make it until 90 something like they did, or maybe even longer, I still have such a lot of time to do anything I want. What I'd also like to share with you is that now, having gone through all my life experiences and having started over several times, I'm no longer afraid of change or anything unexpected that my life brings me, because I simply accept all that comes on the way. I know that that's the beauty of life, that we should accept both the easy things and the difficult stuff. And because I had to go through many experiences which were hurdles on my path, I somehow got immune to thinking that I'm the victim. And I hope that if there is anything that makes your life more fulfilled and makes you feel more vibrant and happier, I hope that you start over. If my episode helped you in any way, please feel free to share anything in the comments below. Thank you very much for staying with me, and see you soon.